of MasterChef Junior Senior 7, Che.
Hi everyone, today in Zoë C and in Kids First, I have the pleasure to talk to the winner of Season 7, and now he's a part of the jury in Season 8 of MasterChef Junior. How are you?
I'm great, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, I'm good as well. How did you discover your passion for cooking, and who cooks at home?
So I say on a everyday basis, my mom does most of the cooking at home because I come home from school pretty late after sports and things. So I enjoy cooking on the weekends a lot. I think that's when I cook the most. And I started cooking, I found my passion for it when I was very young, because for me, cooking has always been a part of my family. I grew up cooking in the kitchen, making dinner, helping out my parents. And then I realized that I just love it so much. And I really enjoyed the creative energy I could put into it.
Awesome. And how has your life changed ever since the competition? And how different do you think it is now being part of the jury versus being a competitor as you were last season?
After MasterChef Junior, my life changed in a lot of ways. I feel like I learned so much from that experience, not only cooking-wise, but just like meeting all these new people and being on TV for the first time. And my culinary journey has really progressed from it. I feel like I've learned a lot. I cook a lot more now, and I've learned so much in that way for sure. Yeah.
Right, and being on television is a huge thing. So I guess what new memories did you make being on Season 7, and how much did you enjoy being in the show?
I mean, I made countless memories. Because it's an entire season, I think it was maybe 18 episodes long. There's so much that goes into filming, that much footage. And afterwards and before we film, meeting all the kids. So I had so many different wonderful memories of not only meeting the judges and getting to talk to them, but also my fellow members that were competing alongside myself.
Absolutely. And now, what do you think are going to be some major challenges that the new competitors are going to have to face, maybe some that you had while being on the show, cooking-wise?
I think the hardest part of being on MasterChef Junior, and it's a challenge that they'll face also, is just how, you really have no idea what you're going to have to cook next. You open up the mystery box, for example, in the mystery box challenge, you have no idea what's going to be underneath it. And you have to be prepared to make something with that and wow the judges and not get eliminated. And I think that also, when you're progressing throughout the season, the stress really builds up. You're so far, you don't want to go home. And every time you cook, you got to make something that impresses the judges. So I think that they'll definitely have to face that. But once they overcome that and they relax a little bit and they take it one step at a time, they're going to do an amazing job, all of them on the show.
For sure, and I'm sure they see you as a huge inspiration. And what type of foods do you like to cook, or what's like your favorite meal to prepare?
I think my favorite meal to prepare is probably risotto. I love the process of it. It takes so long, and you really have to pay attention to it. So I enjoy eating it and the finished product afterwards because it takes so long. And I love cooking so many different things. Steak is so much fun to cook. It's just an exciting thing to do. Flambeing is so much fun. I did that in the episode that I was in where I was judging. It's just a fun, interesting thing to do. So I like cooking all different things all over the place, yeah.
Absolutely. I love all different types of food, like sushi, but also some Italian, of course. Do you prefer more cooking a savory meal or desserts?
I think I'm definitely more of a savory kind of person. I bake sometimes, but I feel like I definitely enjoy cooking more, and I think that I really like cooking more savory dishes, 100%, yeah.
Right, and I feel like cooking is definitely an art form. I feel like some people have like the magic hands who can like really go good in the kitchen. So do you think that cooking is something like a gift that was given to certain people?
I think you could be naturally good at it. I think that's totally a possibility, and I do agree with you that it's 100% an art form. But I think the cooking is one of those wonderful skills that you can learn 100%. Like you can find a chef you like or a mentor, and they can teach you, and a lot of that stuff translates really well. So I think, yes, I agree with you that sometimes it can be such a natural kind of thing. You can be better at it or just know more of those things naturally, but it can also be taught 100%.
Sure, I live with my mom and she does not cook that much, but I enjoy it too when I can. Not as much as you, clearly, but do you like to experiment while you're cooking? I know we have some friends who do like a secret recipe where they like incorporate different spices into their meals each time and it always comes out different. It's like a game they play. Do you have any do you experiment any at all, or?
100%. Yeah, I think that cooking for me, a lot of it is an experiment sometimes. I'll try to, just make something with what's ever in my fridge, just look in there and make something amazing. So definitely, I think that has to do with the creative process for me, making it a challenge, making it interesting, and changing it up so it doesn't get boring, 100%.
Right, and do you think that has introduced you to new flavors and how to, or not being so afraid of, incorporating things you wouldn't think of in your meals?
Totally. I think that you have to do that if you want to become, better at cooking. You have to think outside the box and flavor combinations, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And I also know you're trying to make good tasting gluten-free donuts, which sounds like a challenge. So do you think it's important to have healthy but, good, like, foods like that?
Yeah, I think 100%. I think that, staying healthy is a huge part of life. And I think it incorporates nicely into cooking. Totally. Making sure because a lot of healthy food can be delicious sometimes, and it doesn't all have to be, donuts and burgers and everything. You can totally make some delicious, healthy food. So I enjoy doing that myself.
Agreed. But healthy food is also a lot more pricey, I've noticed.
Yeah, that's an issue that it's interesting for sure, because I do find that also, the organic option is always more expensive than the non-organic option. Fast food's super cheap, but fast food's not very good for you. So I think it's just a balance kind of thing. But I like trying to, find more affordable ways to cook healthy food, because it's difficult, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of alternatives. Like for sugar, there's agave and so many other, alternatives for those type of foods.
Right.
In the future, it'll be more normalized.
Right, yeah.
And as I was saying, you're definitely an inspiration for so many kids. So do you think that most kids should be taught to cook just to have that skill behind their sleeve?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an important just life skill in general. Maybe not, you don't have to love cooking, but I think that, everyone should know how to cook. Definitely. I think that if a kid wants to cook, then they 100% should, because it's really like you mentioned before, it's totally an art form in that way. It's a great way to relieve stress, to get out some of your creative energy. So yeah, I would say, I think, if you're a kid, learning to cook would be a wonderful idea.
Absolutely. And do you have a specific type, or for example, do you like Italian more than this, or is there a type of food that you prefer?
To eat or to cook?
Both.
Both? Okay, I think both of them is Italian food. I really enjoy both cooking and eating Italian food. I've been to Italy 3 times, and it's been a wonderful place to go, and the food there is just insane. I love everything about it, and I love cooking it also.
That's incredible. Well, I'm Italian. My last name is Canela, but I've never been to Italy, so it's definitely something.
Yeah, I was just going. It's a lot of fun for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and the country is beautiful, and the food.
It is.
The food.
Yeah.
So, what are you most excited for in this upcoming season?
I'm excited to see all the new challenges that the judges come up with. I think that they're at a point now with 7 seasons that they've had to come up with some really interesting and creative ones. So when I watch, on Thursdays, it interests me totally to see the challenges that the judges come up with them for. And I compare them to the ones that I was given, and how they're different, how they're similar. So I think that's what I'm excited the most about, for sure, seeing what they have to cook and how they're going to deal with it.
Right. And finally, do you think you've grown as a chef after having the experience of being on the show?
Definitely, in so many ways. I think just being there in the presence of Gordon Ramsay and Aaron and Christina, you really learn a lot from them in so many ways, and the demos they do, but also the fact that you learn how to, here's a walnut, for example, like the last episode of season 8, they had a walnut, they had to make a dish using that. You learn how to see one object and make that the main part of your dish. I think I learned a lot in that way, for sure.
I can totally see how, you've just taken all this so much in. I know my mom was telling me that there was a walnut that they made as a ground beef for a quesadilla. I don't know if walnuts are a new thing, but
yeah, I saw that. That's interesting to me, for sure. I don't know how that. I wish I could have tried that one, because that would be interesting to see how that turned out.
For sure, we should all have walnut quesadillas. Oh, and finally, I also know you want to open a restaurant. Can you give us some details about that and all your plans, I guess, for the future?
Yeah, so I think I have so many different ideas on what I want to do in the future, whether it be a restaurant or a TV show or cookbooks. There's so many different, ways different careers that I enjoy that have to do with food. Restaurant wise, I think all the time about new ideas about a different restaurant I would like to own. So I can't really, say one that is my favorite so far. I like we were mentioning before, Italian food, I think we can agree is some of the best food on the planet. So I would love to have an Italian restaurant one day. That would be wonderful.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much, Chef, for talking to me.
Of course. Nice talking to you too.
Yes, thank you.